Hi, I'm Savannah Wiseman. For my big board, I am presenting on the afterlife and religion and all of that. For my paper, I really wanted to focus on. I'm going to start this over. Okay. Shit. Okay. So for my paper, I got inspiration by the idea of wanting to kind of just have people think a lot. I wanted to have people kind of leave my presentation and really have a lot of like pondering thoughts and just really be kind of almost confused in a way. So I wanted to kind of come up with a really interesting topic, and I ended up coming up with the afterlife as my topic. For my paper, I talked about how people made up the idea of religion and therefore the afterlife and spirituality and all of that is a almost like comforting method, as to like kind of explain the unexplainable. So the reasons that I said that they did this were to kind of give clarity to uncertainties in their life and for afterlife and what happens after we die and everything, to give them security in their lives and to give them a purpose in their lives. So for the uncertainties, the first reason is the idea of heaven and hell and how it's kind of corrupted and how it doesn't really make any sense if you kind of give like a more in-depth look at it. Just keep in mind, I'm not trying to kind of go against any beliefs or anyone's thoughts or religion or anything here. I'm just kind of giving you something to think about. So to go to heaven and hell, in the Bible it is said that Satan was an angel, and him and 1/3 of the other angels. Hi, Eleonora. You can come in.
Just keep it.
Yeah.
Come home.
Hi.
We're doing a project and then we're going home.
But where's your bed?
We just kind of sleep on the
Oh, you
tables.
sleep
Yeah.
on the table.
Yeah.
They're comfy.
They're very comfortable.
They
Yeah, I got
line
the
your
chairs
back
sometimes.
well, you know.
Oh yeah.
Okay, don't stay too long, girl.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Is that the new paper?
It might be.
Look at the date. We'll steal one for me.
April 1st. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Oh yeah, that's the newer one that came out today. April Fool's Day. Thank you, dear.
Thank you. That was Eleonora. Okay. So, it is believed that Satan and 1/3 of his followers ended up trying to like overturn God and became bad. So God sent them to hell as punishment for trying to gain control and becoming kind of corrupt. The issue with this is that it can be argued that God is acting in a greedy fashion by doing this. By punishing those who are trying to obtain power gives him more power, and so that's kind of like him greedily making himself more powerful. In Dante's Inferno, by Dante, whatever his last name is, I don't remember it right now, but it talks about the rungs of hell and the punishments that go along with it and stuff. And for greed, that is one of the deadly sins, and it has a specific punishment, but I also don't remember what that is. But it's really bad. So God should technically be in hell as well with all of his angels if that is actually like a punishment for it, because he's acting in a greedy fashion by making himself all powerful. Second, also going along with heaven and hell, is that the whole idea of sending someone to hell, or God sending angels and people and everyone to hell, is kind of against his nature. God is said to be, what is it said to be? He's supposed to be holy, and he's supposed to be nice and caring for everyone, and he's supposed to be this magnificent figure. And by sending people to hell to be tortured for eternity, that's really against his good nature and really does not add up very well. Some may argue, oh my goodness, I can't breathe. Okay. Some may argue that since God's word is law, that he doesn't really have to follow his word, and like he can kind of do whatever he wants. But this, and like, although that's kind of true, he would follow it because he is good by nature. He would choose to follow his own word. So and again, that doesn't really add up. So heaven and hell can't really be like a legit thing, which kind of like adds to, which is what makes everything uncertain. So this whole idea of God being greedy and God not being actually good by nature, which is what the whole foundation is, kind of just add to the uncertainties that people have, and which kind of makes people want to believe in the afterlife. God, this is so terrible. Okay. In a novel called The Gargoyle by Andrew Davidson. How much time is it?
5 minutes.
Yikes. Okay. Woo! Going strong here. Almost at Teresa's stuff, so we're fine. You also had the Eleanor thing for like a minute though, so
Yeah.
thanks.
No, but you're doing good. And you'll have like visual aid and stuff.
That's true. And I will actually might know what I'm talking about in a second.
Oh, for sure.
Yikes. But in a novel called The Gargoyle by Andrew Davidson, is a almost modern take on Dante's Inferno, where it kind of creates a story kind of based off of the journey that Dante and Virgil went on through hell, in this like modern story. In the novel, it talks about the idea of suffering and how it is thought to bring one closer to God. How through suffering they're able to understand what God went through by dying on the cross and all of his struggles, and it makes them almost more holy. And this is actually a really big problem when you think of it in terms of heaven and hell. When someone is sent to hell, they're thought to be like suffering for eternity. They're thought to be tortured and put in this place so that they can kind of like repent their sins. They're suffering. And when you're sent to heaven, all your suffering and all of your worries and all of your problems are kind of just taken away. So if it's true that suffering brings you closer to heaven, or closer to God, then that should mean that heaven is hell and hell is actually heaven, which isn't the case. So, so that doesn't really add up, and that kind of also, again, builds on the uncertainty that people have, and that kind of like gives a reason for why they might make up something to kind of like help them out, whatever. Another reason is the inconsistencies with religion. If you think about religions, there's so many different religions, and there's so many different interpretations of things, and just countless number of everything of religion. It's just really kind of just what you think it is. Like a Bible can be interpreted in a million different ways, and then just everything is crazy. So with that, it's kind of hard to really think that like it can be true. It's if there's no really concrete answer, there's no really whatever, then like how can it be a real thing and stuff? And that adds to the insecurities that people might have about following a religion and what might cause them to kind of not be sure about it. An example of this is that how people view the afterlife in different religions. Like, for example, Christianity believes in like an eternal heaven and hell, and then some believe in purgatory as well, where they are kind of punished for a while and then eventually sent up to heaven after kind of doing their thing. And then Hinduism, is that a thing? Okay. They believe in nirvana, which is like a state of being. It's not actually like a place necessarily, and it's like once you reach nirvana, you can choose to like stay in that state, or you can choose to kind of be reincarnated as a teacher for those, like to help those who also like to help those like achieve their nirvana. So they believe in reincarnation as well, which is not a belief in Christianity. So just those two things, kind of just the idea of there being a God and there being this one religion, afterlife thing, not religion, to cross that out. But yeah. And Judaism, it's more similar to Christianity than Hinduism, but it's kind of not at all. They don't really believe in hell at all, where Christianity kind of puts a really big emphasis on it. I don't actually know. It's my paper. I didn't really research it for my outline. But I'm pretty sure they think that like everyone kind of just goes to heaven, right? Yeah. And then, look at me, religion.
Good job.
Okay. I also read something that they like, absolutely correct me if this was wrong, but like I read an article where they said that like some people believe that like everyone goes to like hell and then is eventually like put into heaven. Like hell's kind of just like a waiting place.
Possibly.
Okay. But okay, that's okay. And then the idea also, okay, And then the idea that Christianity stemmed from Judaism doesn't really make sense. Kind of built on uncertainties, because how can there be two completely separate and two completely different religions when it's all supposed to be like together? I guess I don't really know how to like say that, but we'll figure it out eventually. But that basically just proves that it was kind of like a man-made thing, and that it all kind of stems from someone's perspective. And even if you kind of make the argument that it was like a certain prophet and they were like God is speaking through them and they were able to translate it and whatever and stuff, and it ended up being these two different things, it's still an interpretation. That's still a person's influence, which isn't necessarily
That's
God.
weird. How's a swear word?
Yeah.
Like HE double hockey stick. Like
Mhm.
that's what you used to say in middle school.
Mhm. Like how it's such like a bad interpretation,
It's
I guess.
Added,
It's like,
yeah, it's like so like exaggerated.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, yeah, dude, you and even Eleanor's in here for like an hour. Like,
I should have raised my hand after and asked questions.
audience, thank you.
Yeah.
So another aspect of this, whatever I'm trying to prove at this point, I don't actually know what I'm saying. I'm kind of just reading my outline.
Cool.
So another big aspect that I talked about in my paper was the idea of security that the afterlife brought, and that's a big reason why people choose to believe in the afterlife and choose to follow religions, is because they feel like it gives them security in both their physical lives and their afterlife. In their physical lives, it gives security because I feel like if they follow this group or they're within this group, it gives them people with almost the same morals. They know that they're probably going to be around people that are more similar to them, where because they have the same belief system and they kind of just have the same, almost not always, but like a more similar way of thinking about things sometimes. So it gives them a more security thing, like they have someone to rely on, they have someone there for them, they have just a security blanket about people being around them, they feel safer. I have like a really hard time like swallowing after I cough, and it's really weird.
Yeah, I can tell.
And then also, believing in the afterlife and religion helps people with like a mourning and the grieving process. So like after someone passes away, it's really hard to really fathom like once someone's gone, they're just gone forever. So having the afterlife there and being able to potentially be reincarnated and like be with their soul again, or be able to go up to heaven and see them again, is really reassuring for people, and they're able to really like move on because they think that they'll be in contact with them eventually, like again, in some other realm potentially. So it gives them like a more secure way of moving on, and it really helps them. Also, it makes people think they have control over their lives, which is like really important for people. Control is huge, and the afterlife provides that. They're able to kind of like think like, oh, if I just follow these few rules, or if I believe this, or if I do this, then I'm going to have the afterlife that I want. I'm going to be eternally happy and just awesome and like perfectly off and whatever. I'm going to be hanging out with God, and it's going to be sweet in this big palace up in heaven, you know? So they feel like they have like control over what they are doing in their next life, or once they are passed. And that gives them a lot of security, like, it's all going to be okay. All the crap that I'm going through now is going to be over. I just have to do these few things, and I'm going to be eternally happy. And that just makes everyone just feel, not everyone, that's whatever, but makes people feel a lot better about things, and kind of just, like I said, gives them security about everything, and that just all comes from religion and the belief in an afterlife and a belief in just something beyond life. It just gives them an answer. Oh my goodness, there's a hair everywhere. Gives them an answer about the unknown, and that's just ultimately what people are seeking. In my paper, I talked about how it gave the afterlife and religion gives people a false sense of purpose in their physical lives because they're striving to have like a perfect afterlife, and they're striving to 14. Okay. This is like my last point. I'm gonna stretch it out, I think. Okay.
Well,
And my like
aid
service
and you'll
learning
have-
stuff too,
yeah.
but I don't have it done yet.
Just talk a little bit about it, and
Yeah.
then you'll have your aid, and you'll have your group engagement, which usually takes like a
Ooh, I don't know what I'm
minute.
gonna do for that. We'll probably do like some kind of
Like, how
survey or
many of you
something.
have died? Where'd you
Are you
go?
religious? Why? Tell me all about it. This is why you're wrong.
Is anyone offended thus far in the
Yikes, get out then. Okay, but
Presentation.
I talked about a false sense of purpose because you're living for the afterlife almost. You're not putting any purpose on your physical lives, your lives in the physical world because you're so focused on, not you specifically, people are more focused on
You suck.
creating an ideal afterlife situation. And so yeah, people kind of argue that like people don't really like blindly follow religion. They still have their own morals. They do their own thing. They still do whatever makes them happy, but still relying on, I don't know. But religion is such like a huge part of a lot of people's lives still that it kind of like, is this fine that I just went black, or should I like
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still gonna work.
making sure?
I was just waiting for that to happen.
And but still putting, it's kind of like always in the back of their mind, and it's always going to be like a thing, and it's more relevant and more persistent than some might think it actually is in their lives.
The shortest
So.
video has to be 15 to post.
Is this 15?
Yeah, so you're good. Like it'll
Yeah.
count as a post.
Okay. So yeah, but for this, I kind of wanted to take it for my presentation. I wanted to take a different approach. I feel like that was very almost negative and kind of like a cynical way of doing it, and that kind of was the theme of my whole paper, and I didn't really want to follow that whole theme here.
Is your whole paper?
My whole paper was very cynical. Yeah, it was literally all the stuff I talked about in the very beginning, except like times 10.
Oh my god.
Then like the false sense of purpose, all of that happened. Yeah. But for this, I like literally had like this really doesn't matter. Like what having a false sense of purpose and like making up these reasons to believe in the afterlife. Like who cares? Honestly, like if it makes people happy and if it gives them a sense of purpose and it gives them a sense of security and it makes them feel safe and it makes them feel whatever about their lives, then more power to them in every single way. Like I really wanted to have this I wanted it to be like thought provoking, and I really wanted it to be something that you would kind of like walk away with and be thinking about like, oh wow, those are like really good points. I think I kind of hit that in the beginning a little bit, but just kind of keep in mind that like, if you're happy, whatever. So, for my service learning project, I contacted, this was actually very difficult for me. I've had a really hard time with this, because I mean, can't really go around to kids or adults and just kind of say like, hey, religion's made up. So I kind of talked about grieving a lot in my paper, not a lot, in a very short part of my paper in one paragraph, but talked about grieving a little bit in my paper and kind of thought that I'd be able to expand on that a little bit in my service learning. And it turns out you have to have like a lot of certification and training to work in like grief counseling or grief anything, kind of helping people with it. So I don't actually know what I'm going to do for my service learning because I called like 8 different cemeteries and like hospitals and none of them have gotten back to me because they're like, hey, yikes, you're 17 and you have no training and you're going to leave next year and you have to have like a year's worth of experience. So I still don't know what I'm going to do. Might do a fundraiser. I don't know. Mr. Stein suggested that I like throw a party for these grieving people so that they can celebrate their
You can
lost ones instead of
You can just
constantly
have
kind
a
of
Day
talking
of the
about
Dead
it.
party and
That'd be
show
cute.
how Mexican people celebrate it different than Americans.
That's a really good idea. Might do that. Keeping it in mind. Look at Emily White's over here, killing it. with the
I'm like-
thoughts. God, if they watch this, I'm screwed, Emily. Oh my god. Okay.
Do you want to cancel? Are you done or are you
I think
concluding?
I'm done. So yeah.
Thank you.
Afterlife. Thanks.